Hey guys, it's ImJaredRoss here, and I'm with my buddy Corton Ryder. You guys might remember we did a review back at last year for A Star Is Born, and I wanted him to tag along for this review of Captain Marvel, which we literally just got out of the theater seeing. It's the newest Marvel film. This is like the, 22nd film in the MCU. They keep going, and of course it's the origin story of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and works as a sort of prequel to the Avengers and the MCU overall, taking place in the 90s as Carol Danvers, or Veer, is that her name? Veers. As she is trying to deal with a Kree-Skrull war, and she ends up on Earth, and she starts having memories of a past as she tries to figure that out. And she meets Nick Fury along the way, and it's a fun time. It's a fun movie.
I mean, yeah, it was a pretty fun film. It was, you know, a lot.
It was a movie, and it was good. I think overall we just think it's, you know, a fun Marvel movie. Nothing game-changing or spectacular. Just a pretty fun movie overall, but we'll get into that. First off, I want to talk about the positives of the film, and first off, I really liked the character interactions in this film. To me, they were some of my favorite stuff in it. Like, I liked when Carol Danvers, Brie Larson, had like this back and forth with Jude Law's character. I think that's a lot of fun. Of course, her and Nick Fury is kind of the best stuff in the film. I think they have really good chemistry together. And also, later on in the film, there's a moment near the middle of the film with a character from Carol Danvers' past that I really enjoyed, and it was... I think it brought a little bit of emotion to the film, and everything was really good overall. But yeah, I like the character interactions probably the most. But what about you?
Well, one thing I did like is that, so in Brie Larson, Veers is on Earth, you know, the film, you see her on Earth for the first time. She doesn't have any memory of Earth or being on there. And so it could have been really easy to just redo Thor, the fish out of the water.
Yeah, I was getting some Thor vibes when watching
where she doesn't
the film.
understand anything, and you really think that, but like she actually is competent, and you know she uses the telephone, I guess, semi-properly, and she was able to talk to the cop, you know, knocks on the window, talks to him, and things like that, and it's very, you know, she's a lot.
This movie is so
smoother.
90s.
It is.
In terms of like references and stuff. Like, a lot of movies, when they have a certain time period that they're trying to replicate, a lot of it goes into just, there's a 80s reference, there's a 90s reference, which this movie takes place in the 90s, and there's some stuff where it's like, oh yeah, that's very clearly placed, but it really didn't detract from the film. I thought like, and it really wasn't in there a whole lot. There was only like this, like, maybe within a 30-minute span of a couple of references, and I really enjoyed that. Other stuff that I liked with the film, I liked how weird this film was. I was talking about this in the theater. This movie's weird, and I don't know exactly how to describe it. I mean, it's basically just the fact that it's a goofy space adventure film that's like, I don't know, it's got aliens, more aliens, weird powers, and it's just got this weird sci-fi vibe to it that I really enjoyed.
And a cat. It has a cat.
Goose. Goose is the star of this film. Honestly, he's the main character. That cat is, multiple cats, as we looked at the end credits. Goose is this cat that they basically have along for the ride, and he steals the show in every scene he is in. It's hilarious, and that's another thing. I think this movie, not all the time, but I think it's really funny.
Oh yeah, most of the time for sure the jokes definitely hit the mark. Every once in a while there's a joke where I'm like, I don't really get that one, but it's not a comedy film, so it's to be expected. Not every joke's gonna fit perfectly in.
I feel like a lot of Samuel L. Jackson's lines hit pretty well.
They do.
He's great in this film, and the CGI on him, because this movie's taking place in the 90s, so they de-age Samuel L. Jackson in this, and it looks like flawless. I mean, it looks really good. I know they've been doing it a lot in these Marvel movies. Like, they've done it with Michael Douglas in the Ant-Man movies, and I think that looks really good. They did it in Captain America Civil War with Robert Downey Jr., which I think was probably the weakest of them, but this looked really good.
This is the best, not just of the MCU. I think this is the best de-aging I've seen just out of any movie. Jack Sparrow in Pirates 5.
Yes.
And I'm not a big Star Wars guy. The guy in Star Wars Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
Even Henry Cavill's mustache being taken out looks worse than an entire face being edited.
But yeah, this looks like really good. Let's see. What's his name? Gregg Clark is that his name? That played from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's in this movie too, and they de-age him a little bit. I don't think it was as good, but Samuel L. Jackson is, of course, one of the leads in this movie, and if you didn't get that right, then you would be noticing it the whole time, and it looks really good. Also, I think Ben Mendelsohn, this is his best villain role, and I was so surprised by how much, because, man, let's see, okay, he was the bad guy in Rogue One, he was the bad guy in Ready Player One, and Robin Hood also last year, which I didn't see that movie, but of those two movies, I think this is his best villain role,
easily.
And they give him a lot of depth, which I was not expecting. He's probably my favorite character.
He is mine, and he definitely has, I think, I'm not going to spoil anything, but he has what I think is the most touching scene in the film.
Yes. And also what I really like is Ben Mendelsohn is playing a Skrull in it, which are these shapeshifter creatures, and the makeup on these guys, I loved it, because you said it could have easily been CGI if they wanted it to, but they went with practical face makeup, and it's really good. In fact, it's the best Green Goblin makeup. It's the best Green Goblin we're probably ever gonna get. I loved it.
Even the use of CGI in the movie was really cool. At the very beginning, when she was hooked up to the system, and those things ran through her veins, or when she uses her, do they have a name for her power?
I don't think
think so either. But that energy blast she does looks really cool. And even when the Skrulls, they can change into whatever other creature they want, or in appearance. And even that transformation, especially when you see that very first transformation, and like you see it slowly,
yes.
like it looks really cool.
Like I think the CGI in this movie looks really good. Now, like you guys have probably heard me say that, like I don't care much, like in terms of like CGI in a film. Like I don't like if CGI is bad, it doesn't bother me at all. But like when CGI is good, I'm gonna praise it, and this looks really good.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I liked. A lot of it though is what I like about every Marvel movie though. You know, like, you know, because the main character is always very energetic and fun and carries the film. The supporting cast is always there and they have good chemistry. And it's never. There are a few Marvel Cinematic movies, universe movies, I think can get boring. I was never bored throughout this one.
No.
Even when it was this talking scene, you know, I was actually interested in the story and what was going on, and they kept things pretty lively.
I also kind of like how they did the whole origin story thing. Like, you kind of learn it throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, if you watch a typical origin story film, basically it's the first hour is the origin, and then the rest of the movie is almost a completely different plot because, well, they had the origin, now they have to have it's basically two movies put into one. And here they do a really good idea of just kind of sprinkling the origin throughout the entire film, and I think that was to the betterment of the film. But yeah, that's what we really liked about the film. There's probably a bunch of other stuff that we're not thinking of off the top of our heads, but let's get into our negatives.
Alright, well, there were a couple jokes here and there I did not like. One, the very first one I didn't like is the one that probably bothered me the most, which I don't understand. They have a dead Skrull at a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's headquarters, and he's laying naked on a table.
Oh my god!
Covered up with a towel, and they have his chest open up, dissecting him. And to me, I felt like it came out of nowhere. Samuel L. Jackson
starts
just peeks under the cloth with his boss to look at, I guess, his genitalia, and they go like, yeah.
I didn't understand it at all. There's some other stuff throughout the film. A lot of the stuff I have the most problems with are in the third act, where they kind of it delves into that prequel type problem where they try to answer stuff that maybe we didn't need, or
we didn't even ask.
Yeah. We won't say what because like that goes into spoiler territory. We're gonna keep this spoiler free. But yeah, it just comes off as awkward, random, and just stupid, I would say. Also, in terms of negatives, even though, like, I really liked Brie Larson in this film. She was really charismatic. I loved her scenes working off, like, the other actors and stuff. However, you said this, like, you wish there was a little bit more, like, depth to her character overall, which, yeah. So you said,
there was no character arc really to her, and it doesn't mean that she had no development or no personality traits. And by the end of the movie, she does, you know, go through a change, but it never really clearly, like, sets it up in a way, I guess. Like, it shows that, you know, she's kind of struggled with trying to be this hero her whole life, and she has never been able to really attain it. She's kind of held herself back. But she loses her memory. Her memory's lost throughout, you know, the whole beginning of this movie. So she doesn't really have that problem. So when it kind of comes back at the end, it's like, well, she didn't really.
I feel like there's no, like, big, like, revelation moment where everything changes for her character.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the memory loss, because that was more her past self that she had this struggle. Her present self is, well, fine.
Let's see. I don't know if you had a problem with this. midway through the film, I had some pacing issues, sort of, with, there's this particular part in the middle of the film where they go to, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And, like, there's some really good character moments, like, right there. One I talked about, with a certain character from her past. But, overall, the plot just kind of stops there for a little bit. And also, I don't know if you were noticing this, but, like, Nick Fury just kind of disappears for, like, 20 minutes. And I'm like, there's, like, no cut to him or anything. He's just, like, out of the film, but he's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a problem I have. I can't really think of any, like, other major problems I have with the film, other than, like, I've seen better Marvel movies, and, like, that doesn't mean this movie is, you know, bad or anything. It's just a really fun Marvel movie, which nothing wrong with. But what I was going to mention was, I think this film has a really nice tribute to Stan Lee.
I was going to mention if you weren't.
And also, amazing Stan Lee cameo that references something from
Stan Lee's history. If you know Stan Lee history well, you'll get this reference. And one thing I like is, not only is it hilarious, but I feel like they have to have gone back and refilmed a part of that, because it was also really sweet. That half second with that cameo too. So this is not Stan Lee's best cameo.
No,
but it is a very, I think, a memorable one. Personally, for me, much more memorable than the cliche. He was the janitor in Amazing Spider-Man 1, wasn't he?
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah.
Oh, man, you didn't like that scene?
That's in, like, every early 2000s movie, but this is a 2010s movie.
Oh my gosh, yes, you're probably right.
A janitor that can't hear the action behind him because he's listening to headphones. It's either the janitor or the grandma with the vacuum.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that one. But yeah, overall, I think we really enjoyed the film. Not our favorite Marvel movie, but a good start, I think, to, like, Captain Marvel and stuff. And I'm interested to see her in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So anyway, with all that said, I'm going to give Captain Marvel a 7 out of 10. Well, guys, I want to thank you for watching this, and hope you guys see Captain Marvel. It's a really fun movie, and what did you think about it? Leave off in the comments section below, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review.